Welcome to Lotus Light Teachings. In a world that never stops moving, where our minds are constantly racing from one thought to another, we often forget the power of simply being still. Today, we're going to explore something profound yet incredibly simple: the art of stillness, the wisdom of mindful breathing, and how letting go of distractions can bring us clarity and peace. More than just a concept, these are practices that can change the way we live, the way we think, and the way we experience each moment. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed, scattered, or simply in need of a pause, this is for you. Let's take this journey together. Have you ever felt like life is moving faster than you can keep up? Like you're running towards something, but you're not even sure what? Maybe it's the next goal, the next task, the next worry. Always something just beyond reach. It's like running on a treadmill. No matter how fast you go, the finish line keeps moving. But here's something interesting. What if you stopped running? What if, instead of constantly chasing, you simply paused? I know it sounds counterintuitive. We've been conditioned to believe that slowing down means falling behind. But what if I told you that true clarity, true wisdom, and true peace don't come from running faster? They come from learning how to be still. There's an old Buddhist saying, "When the mind is still, the universe surrenders." And that's what today's conversation is about. Not just slowing down, but discovering the power that stillness holds. Let's begin. There's a Zen story I love, one that has stayed with me for a long time. A fierce samurai once approached a monk with a question. "Tell me," he demanded, "what is the difference between heaven and hell?" The monk looked at him and said, "You're nothing but an arrogant fool, a disgrace to the warrior's path. You don't deserve an answer." The samurai's face turned red with anger. His hand gripped his sword, ready to strike the monk down. But just as he raised his weapon, the monk calmly said, "That is hell." The samurai froze. In an instant, realization washed over him. His anger, his blind reaction, the way he let his emotions control him, that was hell. His grip loosened. The sword dropped to the ground, and with deep gratitude he bowed. The monk then said, "And that is heaven." This story is more than just a lesson in anger management. It's a reflection of how our own minds work. When we are constantly reacting, rushing from one thought to the next, consumed by stress, unable to pause, we create our own hell. But the moment we become aware, the moment we take one conscious breath before reacting, that is heaven. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes if you can. Inhale deeply. Feel the air filling your lungs. Hold it for just a second. Now exhale. Slowly, gently. Did you notice that tiny pause between your inhale and exhale? That brief moment of stillness? That's where peace lives. Most of us don't live in the present. Our minds are like time travelers, constantly jumping between regret about the past and worry about the future. We replay conversations. We rethink decisions. We anticipate problems that haven't even happened yet. It's exhausting, isn't it? But mindful breathing is an anchor. It pulls us back, gently but firmly, into this moment, the only moment that truly exists. And this isn't just philosophy. Some of the most successful people in the world, athletes, leaders, creatives, all use conscious breathing to stay focused and present. Michael Jordan, for example, was known for his ability to remain completely calm under pressure. His secret, focused breathing. No matter how intense the game was, he kept his breath steady, his mind clear. If it worked for him, it can work for us too. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat down to do something, work, a conversation, even just eating a meal, and gave it your full attention? No distractions, no background noise, just you and that one thing. If you're like most people, it's probably been a while. We live in a world that thrives on distraction. Social media, emails, endless notifications, everything is designed to steal our focus. But do you remember the story of the Buddha and the bowl of water? A disciple once asked the Buddha how to maintain focus. The Buddha handed him a bowl filled to the brim with water and said, "Walk through the crowded marketplace and return without spilling a single drop." The disciple did as he was told. He walked carefully, step by step, weaving through the chaos of the market. When he returned, the Buddha asked, "What did you see in the marketplace?" The disciple replied, "Nothing but the water, because I had to focus entirely on not spilling it." That is the power of full attention. When we truly focus on what matters, distractions fade away. The noise of the world doesn't disappear, it simply loses its grip on us. And that is something we can train. The next time you feel overwhelmed, try this. White heavy checkmark, turn off notifications for just 1 hour. White heavy checkmark, take 5 deep breaths before starting any important task. White heavy checkmark, give your full attention to a conversation. Really listen, without thinking about what you'll say next. Small things, but they make a big difference. Have you ever noticed how much of our lives are spent chasing after the next thing? The next task, the next achievement, the next worry? It's like running on a treadmill that never stops. No matter how fast we go, the finish line keeps moving. And yet, in the midst of all this movement, there's something that remains constant, our breath. We breathe every moment of our lives. Yet how often do we truly notice it? It's automatic, something we take for granted. But what if I told you that hidden within this simple act lies a profound key to clarity, calm, and deep awareness? The power of one conscious breath. There's an old Buddhist teaching that says, when you breathe in, you calm your body and mind. When you breathe out, you smile. Sounds simple, even too simple. But take a moment right now, just one moment. Close your eyes if you can. Inhale deeply, feeling the air move through your nose, filling your lungs. Hold it for a second. Now exhale slowly. Let go of everything just for this moment. Did you notice it? That tiny pause between your inhale and exhale? That brief moment of stillness? That's where peace lives. A mind that's always elsewhere. Most of us don't live in the present. Our minds are time travelers, constantly jumping between regret about the past and worry about the future. We replay conversations, rethink decisions, anticipate problems that haven't even happened yet. It's exhausting. Think about the last time you were having a conversation but weren't really present. Maybe you were nodding along while your mind was elsewhere, planning your next task, checking your phone, thinking about dinner. We do this all the time, and because of that, we miss out on life as it's happening. But mindful breathing is an anchor. It brings us back, gently but firmly, to this moment, the only moment that truly exists. The story of the samurai and the monk. There's an old Zen story about a fierce samurai who came to a monk with a question. He demanded, "Tell me, what is the difference between heaven and hell?" The monk looked at him and said, "You're nothing but an arrogant fool, a disgrace to the warrior's path. You don't deserve an answer." The samurai, enraged, grabbed his sword, ready to strike the monk down. But just as he raised it, the monk calmly said, "That is hell." The warrior froze. Realization washed over him. His anger, his blind reaction, the way he let his emotions control him, that was hell. His grip loosened, and the sword dropped to the ground. He bowed deeply, his heart full of gratitude. The monk then said, "And that is heaven." This story is a perfect reflection of our own minds. When we react impulsively, when we let stress, anger, or fear control us, we create our own hell. But the moment we become aware, the moment we take a breath instead of reacting, that is heaven. The pause that changes everything. How many times have we spoken words in anger that we later regretted? Or made a decision in a moment of panic that we wished we could take back? The next time you feel frustration rising or anxiety creeping in, pause. Take one breath before you speak. Take one breath before you react. Take one breath before making a decision. That single breath can be the difference between regret and wisdom, between reaction and response. What we can learn from athletes, leaders, and monks. The most successful people in the world, whether they are athletes, business leaders, or spiritual teachers, all share one thing in common. They know how to control their breath. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was known for his ability to stay calm under pressure. His secret, focused breathing. No matter how intense the game was, he kept his breath steady, his mind clear. Steve Jobs, a known practitioner of Zen meditation, used mindful breathing to sharpen his focus and creativity. Thich Nhat Hanh, the beloved Buddhist monk, often said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." These individuals mastered something that is available to all of us. Not wealth, not privilege, just the ability to be present. How you can apply this right now. Breath awareness doesn't require extra time in your day. You don't need to sit in meditation for hours. It's something you can integrate into ordinary moments. Before an important meeting, take 3 slow breaths to calm your nerves and sharpen your focus. When you're stuck in traffic, instead of getting frustrated, breathe deeply and observe your surroundings. Before reacting in a stressful situation, 1 breath before responding can change the entire outcome. As you wake up, start your day with 3 conscious breaths before reaching for your phone. The breath as a teacher. There is a beautiful realization that comes when you start practicing mindful breathing. Everything in life is just like the breath. We cannot force it. Try holding your breath for too long, and you'll realize that control is an illusion. Life, like the breath, must flow naturally. We must let go. You cannot only inhale, only take in. You must also exhale, release, surrender. Clinging creates suffering. Letting go creates freedom. Each breath is a new beginning. No matter what happened yesterday, no matter what mistakes were made, the next breath is always fresh. A chance to begin again. A gentle invitation. So, I leave you with this thought. What if the peace you're searching for isn't in the future, but in this very breath? What if instead of chasing, striving, and running, you simply stopped just for a moment and noticed the miracle that is always with you? Breathe in. Feel the present moment. Breathe out. Let go of the noise. And just like that, you are home. Letting go of distractions. The art of being fully present. Have you ever had one of those days where your mind feels like a browser with too many tabs open? You're working on something important, but a notification pops up. Suddenly, you're checking messages, scrolling through social media, watching a random video, and then you forget what you were doing in the first place. It's frustrating, isn't it? That feeling of always being pulled in different directions, never quite able to focus, never quite feeling here. Distractions are everywhere, and in today's world, they are more intrusive than ever. But what if we could train our minds to cut through the noise? What if we could reclaim our attention and truly be in the moment? Let's explore this together. The weight of constant distraction. There's a reason we feel so exhausted at the end of the day, even when we haven't done much physical activity. Our minds are constantly processing unfinished tasks, messages left unread, things we should be doing but aren't. We live in a world that thrives on distraction. Companies make billions by keeping us hooked. Our attention is their currency. Every beep, every notification, every breaking news headline is designed to pull us away from what we were doing. But the real cost of distraction isn't just time. It's the loss of presence. When we are distracted, we aren't really living. We are half here, half there, scattered, divided, and over time, this fragmentation erodes our ability to focus, to enjoy, and to deeply experience life. A lesson from the Buddha, the story of the water bowl. There is a well-known story in Buddhist teachings about a disciple who asked the Buddha how to maintain focus. The Buddha handed him a bowl filled to the brim with water and said, "Walk through the crowded marketplace and return without spilling a single drop." The disciple did as he was told. He walked carefully, step by step, weaving through the chaos of the market. When he returned, the Buddha asked, "What did you see in the marketplace?" The disciple replied, "Nothing but the water, because I had to focus entirely on not spilling it." That is the power of full attention. When we are deeply focused on what truly matters, distractions naturally fade away. The noise of the world doesn't disappear. It simply loses its grip on us. But how do we apply this lesson in a world filled with endless notifications and distractions? The myth of multitasking. Many of us take pride in multitasking. We convince ourselves that we can juggle multiple things at once. Reply to emails while listening to a podcast, scroll through social media while watching TV, answer messages while eating dinner. But research shows that multitasking is an illusion. Our brains don't actually do 2 things at once. Instead, they switch rapidly between tasks, burning more energy, increasing stress, and reducing efficiency. The result? We feel busier but accomplish less. Have you ever finished a day feeling mentally drained but unsure of what you actually got done? That's the price of divided attention. What we can learn from high performers. Some of the world's most successful people, whether they are athletes, CEOs, or artists, all share one thing in common: deep focus. Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, had an unwavering ability to focus. He trained for hours with no distractions, completely immersed in each movement. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors, credits his ability to focus on a few key decisions rather than being scattered by noise. J.K. Rowling, while writing Harry Potter, checked into a hotel with no internet, no distractions, just complete focus on writing. They understood something crucial: your attention is your greatest asset. If you waste it on distractions, you lose the ability to create, to perform, to truly experience life. So how can we train ourselves to focus like them? Practical steps to eliminate distractions. Distractions aren't just external, they exist inside us too. Our thoughts, our worries, our impulses to check our phones for no reason. Here are 3 practical steps to help you reclaim your focus. 1. Create a distraction-free environment. Turn off non-essential notifications. Set specific times for checking emails and social media instead of doing it randomly. Declutter your workspace. Physical clutter creates mental clutter. Try this. Put your phone in another room for 1 hour while working on something important. You'll be amazed at how much you get done. 2. The power of single tasking. Instead of doing many things poorly, do one thing deeply. Set a timer for 25 to 50 minutes and focus on just one task. This is called the Pomodoro technique. If your mind wanders, bring it back to the present. Just like carrying the water bowl in the Buddhist story. Try this. For 1 meal today, eat without any distractions. No phone, no TV, no emails. Just you and your food. Experience the taste, the texture, the moment. 3. Train your mind like a muscle. Just like building strength in the gym, focus is something you must train daily. Start with 5 minutes of mindful breathing every morning. When you notice yourself distracted, gently bring your focus back. No judgment, just awareness. Try this. Next time you feel the urge to check your phone impulsively, stop. Take 1 deep breath instead. Observe what happens. The freedom of letting go. There is something incredibly freeing about regaining control over your attention. When you let go of distractions, you gain time. Time for deep work, for meaningful conversations, for truly being present. When you let go of distractions, you gain clarity. About what truly matters, about the thoughts that serve you and the ones that don't. When you let go of distractions, you gain peace. Because your mind is no longer being pulled in 1,000 directions. So I leave you with this question. What would your life look like if you gave your full attention to what truly matters? Perhaps, like the disciple in the Buddhist story, you'll find that the marketplace is still there. The noise, the chaos, the distractions. But they no longer control you, because now you are focused. Embracing stillness in a noisy world. The art of true presence. Have you ever had a moment where everything just felt too much? The endless emails, the buzzing notifications, the constant pressure to do more, be more, achieve more, and yet, at the end of the day, despite all the movement, all the busyness, you feel empty? It's strange, isn't it? We are always doing something, yet we often feel like we're getting nowhere. Like we're running on a treadmill, moving fast but staying in the same place. But what if I told you that the secret to clarity, to fulfillment, to real peace wasn't in doing more, but in being still? The illusion of busyness. Society teaches us that being busy equals being important. If you're constantly rushing, constantly juggling tasks, constantly engaged in something, then you must be doing something meaningful, right? But think about it. When was the last time you let yourself do nothing? Not scrolling your phone, not watching something in the background, not thinking about what's next. Just stillness. For many of us, the idea of stillness is uncomfortable. We equate it with laziness, with wasting time. But the truth is, stillness is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of awareness. And awareness is what gives life depth. The Buddha once said, "When the mind is still, the universe surrenders." It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? That when we stop chasing, stop grasping, stop forcing things to happen, life actually opens itself to us. The story of the muddy water. Imagine holding a glass jar filled with water and dirt. If you shake it, the water becomes murky, clouded with debris. No matter how hard you try to see through it, the more you stir, the worse it gets. But if you set it down, if you let it be, something magical happens. Slowly, the dirt begins to settle. The water clears, and suddenly you can see through it again. Our minds are exactly the same. When we are constantly bombarded with information, constantly stimulated, constantly on, our thoughts become cloudy. We lose sight of what really matters. We react instead of respond. We move, but without direction. But when we pause, when we allow stillness, everything becomes clearer. Stillness as a superpower. Some of the most brilliant minds in history understood the power of stillness. Albert Einstein was known to sit in silence for long periods, allowing his greatest ideas to emerge. Leonardo da Vinci would stare at blank walls, waiting for inspiration to come. Steve Jobs, a lifelong student of Zen, often spoke about the power of doing nothing, of giving the mind space to breathe. Stillness is where insight is born. Think about the moments when you've had your best ideas. Were they when you were stressed and overwhelmed? Or were they in the shower, on a quiet walk, in a rare moment of peace? When we embrace stillness, we don't stop life, we actually allow it to flow more freely. The fear of silence. Have you ever noticed that the moment you sit in silence, your mind starts screaming? Suddenly, old memories resurface. Worries you thought you had buried come creeping in. The mind starts playing an endless loop of what if, and I should have. This is why so many of us avoid stillness. Not because we don't have time, but because we are afraid of what we might find when the noise fades. But here's the thing, running from your mind doesn't silence it. It only makes it louder. The only way to quiet the storm is to stop fighting it. How to invite stillness into your life. You don't need to go to a monastery or sit in meditation for hours. Stillness is something you can integrate into your daily life in small but powerful ways. 1. Morning silence. Start your day with 5 minutes of stillness before checking your phone. Just sit, breathe, and let the morning be quiet before the world rushes in. 2. Nature walks. Leave your phone behind and take a slow walk outside. Feel the air, listen to the sounds, notice the details you usually miss. 3. The art of doing nothing. Give yourself permission to do absolutely nothing for a few minutes every day. No screens, no distractions, just being present. 4. Mindful moments. Whether it's drinking your coffee, brushing your teeth, or waiting in line, use ordinary moments to practice being fully present. No rushing, no multitasking, just awareness. 5. 1 deep breath. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel it enter, feel it leave. That single breath can reset your mind. What happens when you embrace stillness? The first thing you'll notice is that life slows down. You begin to see things you never noticed before. The way the sunlight filters through your window. The way your loved one's voice sounds when they laugh. The simple beauty in ordinary moments. You also begin to think more clearly. Without the constant rush, your decisions become more intentional. You react less, reflect more. You realize that many of the things you once stressed about weren't really that important. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to feel at peace, not because life is perfect, but because you've learned how to be present in it. The world is still loud. There are still distractions, still responsibilities, still challenges. But they no longer shake you, because inside, there is stillness. A deep, unshakable stillness. A simple question to reflect on. So I leave you with this thought. What would happen if, just for today, you let yourself be still? If you stopped running, stopped filling every gap with noise, stopped searching for answers outside yourself? What if everything you're looking for is already here? All you have to do is be still enough to see it. So here's what I leave you with today. Stillness is not about stopping life. It's about experiencing it more deeply. It's about realizing that peace isn't something we find, it's something we allow. The world will still be loud. There will still be responsibilities, challenges, distractions. But they don't have to control us. Because inside, we can carry a deep, unshakable stillness. And the next time you feel the chaos creeping in, remember, one breath, one pause, one moment of presence. That's all it takes to return home to yourself. Now, I have a question for you. What would your life look like if you gave your full attention to what truly matters? Let's reflect on that. And if this message resonated with you, if you found even a small piece of peace in this, I invite you to share it with someone who might need it. Leave a comment. Tell me, how do you practice stillness in your life? And don't forget to like and subscribe for more mindful wisdom. Until next time, breathe deeply, be present, and embrace the stillness.